Hey everybody, I'm Trubiak and welcome back to CC's Vinyl Closet. Here is where I love to explore the history of country music on vinyl record. And if that sounds like your kind of thing, let's go. One big goal with CC's Vinyl Closet is to finally get to some of these records and artists that have eluded me for years. And there's no way that I'm not familiar with George Jones. But between you and me, nowhere near as familiar with the possum as I should be, especially to call myself a fan, and I always have been. I grew up somehow exposed to songs like The Race Is On, We Don't Need Your Rocking Chairs, and the only album of his that I owned for the longest time was his 1974 The Grand Tour. And I'll share more on this record another time. Plus, within my deep dive into Tammy Wynette's records, I've collected all 9 of their duet albums and have become so acquainted with these treasured songs. There is so much history in here. One day I'll feature one of their records too, I'm sure, but today is about new discovery. Initially, I was overwhelmed at the task of featuring George. How could I get through so many LPs? How do you shrink one giant's catalog down like that? Simply put, you don't. So I tell you, I had a heck of a time just digesting this one album in the best possible ways. So here's what I know. George Jones, rest in peace, was an American country musician, singer, and songwriter who achieved international fame for his distinctive voice and phrasing. And a lot of hit records too. Now get this, he had more than 160 chart singles to his name from 1955 to his passing in 2013. Now the story goes that as a boy, George Jones sang on the streets of Beaumont, Texas for spare change, and his alcoholic father would take that money and buy booze for himself. But nevertheless, he'd inherited this gift for music from his mother's family, and that gift would eventually take him into the big time of country and western music. George Jones's trials and tribulations are the stuff of legends and would follow him throughout his life. Still, there's never been denying the brilliance of his singing, especially once he developed his own style. And boy, what range! He was and remains one of the most prolific artists ever, and I consider him one of my all-time favorites, period. Keeping today's focus on the music, George released over 80 studio albums between 1956 to 2017. 69 of them were solo, 11 of them being collaborations with the likes of Melba Montgomery, Margie Singleton, Gene Pitney, Johnny Paycheck, Merle Haggard too. Oh, plus the 9 LPs that he did with Tammy Wynette. You see how this could get a little overwhelming? Good thing I'm prepared. George Jones Sings White Lightning and Other Favorites was George's 3rd studio album, released in 1959 and produced by Poppy Daly. Jones wrote or co-wrote 11 of the 12 songs that it contains, which I'm just going to say now really impressed me. It seems that he could truly demonstrate an ability to use words and voice to equal heights. I've decided to try something a little different in my approach this time, so allow me to share some comments on the opening title track, White Lightning. I learned George was friends with a man named J.P. Richardson, aka the Big Bopper. And it was the Big Bopper who wrote White Lightning. And this song would become George's first #1 hit song. White Lightning was released as a single just 3 days after the Big Bopper died in the fateful plane crash that also took Ritchie Valens and Buddy Holly. Please check it out if you're unfamiliar. You can hear that rockabilly spirit of the Big Bopper all over it.
I'm mighty, mighty pleased, and I'm happy's corn squeeze. Shh, white lightning.
Sticking with side 1, I'm With the Wrong One is a song written by George and sang as a duet with a lady by the name of Jeanette Hicks, who I'd never heard of before, but the impression is made. Just a beautiful voice. And the song itself is a plea from one partner to another to stop their hurtful ways, for they're painfully aware that they're with the wrong one.
I'm with the wrong one, yes I know it. I'm with the wrong one, and I can show it because I love you. But I know you don't seem to care how much I cry. If you just knew how much I love you, just stop your lying, stop me from crying. But you don't wanna show your love for me is gone. I'm with the wrong one.
Again, I love this duet and I highly suggest you listen to George and Jeanette sing it as they sound so fine together. Referring again to the quality of George's songwriting, you can tell that he could really draw from his life experiences when telling a story. Take, for instance, Life to Go. This song was apparently written after George played a convention in Crockett, Texas with legend Ernest Tubb. Now, as the story goes, they walked the grounds of a prison and began chatting with an inmate. At one point, they asked him how much time he had left to serve, to which the prisoner replied, "I've been here for 18 years and still got life to go." Now, in his 1996 autobiography, George apparently wrote that this remark chilled him to the bone. He'd say, "I hated the prison, but I knew I'd be leaving. That man hated it more and knew he'd never leave. I wanted to get that prison out of my mind, but I couldn't."
I had a wife and family when they put me in this cell. That's the reason this story of mine is very hard to tell. I've been in here 18 years, that's a long time I know. But time don't mean a thing to me, 'cause I've got life to go.
George wrote another song, this one called Don't Do This To Me, that by golly, it just had that lovable combination of pitiful and celebratory, and I just couldn't get it out of my head for days.
I've tried hard and pleasing, you tell me you're leaving. I must know the reason, don't do this to me. My love's like a flower that grows every hour. It's my only power, don't do this to me. Don't squeeze it, don't leave it. Why don't you believe it? It's made you, it's pleased you, but stay, don't you see? You're free to amuse it, yes, you can accuse it, but please don't excuse it, don't do this to me.
Check out George's version, please. It's a gooder. What a great songwriter and an amazing voice. I've also got to mention the final song on side 1, Wandering Soul, again written by George.
Oh, lend me a hand, please, Lord, and guide me, and help me lead down the road that is right. Oh, carry me through these hours of darkness, and show me the path of shining light. I'm a wandering soul, I'm lost from a Savior, a sheep that has strayed so far from the fold, just tearing along in the clutch of old Satan. But I'm hoping someday you'll save my soul.
I always have and always will gravitate towards gospel songs, and George truly could write and sing like he was trying to save his soul. Please check out his version. Now turning my attention to side 2, Giveaway Girl was another one of those catchy and feisty numbers where George once again takes his place as a down-on-his-luck puppy dog in love. But it's actually the song You're Back Again that really impressed me. On this track, which he co-wrote with Hank Lachlan, he also had Hank provide the harmony part, and, well, I'm a sucker for tight harmonies.
You're back again, but are you here to stay? Or have you come again to lead my heart astray? You know I love you, though you treat me like dirt. You're back again, and I know I'll get burned.
I've read that on this record, George still hadn't solidified his own distinctive sound as of yet, but he would go on to do that. Some even say that he was imitating others, which is perfectly natural in my opinion. That could certainly be said for Nothing Can Stop Me, another really fun tune that felt a bit reminiscent of Hank Williams.
Well, I gotta get up and gotta keep going. Rain or shine, sleeting or snowing. Nothing can stop me, stop me, stop my loving you. Wander through the woods, climb a high mountain. Love is in my heart like water's in a fountain. Nothing can stop me, stop me, stop my loving you. Cross the fire, walk through the river. You'll be the taker and I'll be the giver. I'll give you loving, loving, honey, that's what I'll do. Build a big wall and tear it to pieces. Gotta get to your loving and kisses. Nothing can stop me, stop me, stop my loving you.
His third collaboration would come with a duet that he did with fellow Mercury artist Virginia Spurlock called Flame in My Heart. I really enjoyed this duet too.
You cheated on me. You cheated on me. I tried to be fair. I tried to be fair. But you don't believe in doing your share. But I've learned my lesson. Yes, I've learned my lesson. And now I can say. And now I can say. The flame in my heart is dying away. Is dying away.
Gotta love those hurtin' songs, I tell ya. I really could not find anything out about this Miss Virginia Spurlock, but I love the voice and I'm giving you a shout out, girl. And the last song I'd like to note is also the album's closing number, the gospel plea, Jesus Wants Me.
I was alone in the darkness. Trouble was all I could see. Then from above he looked down with his love. Now I'm happy 'cause Jesus wants me. Jesus wants me, yes, Jesus wants me. He set my poor soul on the course of Calvary. Now I can sleep, he's gathering his sheep, and I'll stick with the shepherd 'cause Jesus wants me.
Now, the only thing that I can say is please listen to George's version if you ever get the chance. These lyrics and his delivery are nothing short of perfect. It's a song that I feel I can relate to literally every single word, and I am impressed. There, I said it. So that's a wrap, guys. I find music so therapeutic. Now is where I turn to you and I ask you, what are your favorite George Jones albums, songs, and stories? Drop me your comments below and stay tuned for next week's installment of CC's Vinyl Closet. And until next time, over and out.